This
Okay.
conference will now be recorded.
Everybody on your best behavior. This is being recorded. Okay, so be careful. Okay, so first of all, let's not panic. Okay, I know for many of us, this might be our first Pesach. We might not have planned this to be our first Pesach, but we've always gone away to friends, to relatives. But now we're on our own and we've got to put it together ourselves. So, first of all, there's no reason to panic at all. This is an advertisement. Our very own Vivian Hutz is catering for Pesach. Okay, so if you want to order from Vivian, it should be done before next Tuesday, which is March 31st, I believe, and send an email to HOTZ Stuff. Very careful, HOTZ Stuff, STUFF, at cox.net, and she'll send you a menu, and and you can send her what your order, and it will all be taken care of. Be careful. Make sure that Vivian and Bernard Shalom love to tell the story of when they sent someone to their website to Hot Stuff, but they didn't emphasize about the Z, and ended up being pretty embarrassing. So the rabbi did not send you to anything but HOTZ Stuff, STUFF. Again, send an email to Vivian Hotz, HOTZ Stuff, at cox.net. She'll send you a menu. And anyone who is, I was talking to someone today who has not made Pesach in many, many years and was very nervous. I said, order it from Viv, order extra, and you'll have to take you through the week and you will be fine. So let's not panic. In terms of available food, there is a tremendous amount of food available. Natalie and I, with our masks, we went to OC Kosher today. Okay, OC Kosher is filled with kosher LePesach food of all types. You can get a tremendous amount there. You also can order online with send an email to them and order online, and they deliver. Natalie,
I don't know.
well, be in touch with them. They have an abundant amount of stuff. We also went to Costco, and there was no line to get into Costco. Granted, there was no toilet paper or tissues, but there was shmura matzah, and anybody who needs shmura matzah, the shul had bought from Costco, planning on our hosting a seder there. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever God plans, that's not going to happen. So we do have 5 extra boxes of hand shmura matzah. The cost, I think, was $14.50. So if anybody would like that, send me an email and we can reserve those for you. Costco, besides the matzah, they have the grape juice. They have the kosher Pesach cheese, as does OC Kosher, but Costco has grated cheese that all year round is OKP. They also have sliced cheese that's OKP. They also have nuts, which we'll get to later, that nuts does not need certain nuts. If it's just plain nuts, not roasted, not salted, not anything, and whole or half nuts, does not need a kosher certification. So there you can get walnuts, you can get pecans, you can get pecans according to, yeah, you can get almonds, you can get cashews. So all of this can be gotten there. If you don't have Haggados and you've gone to, because you normally go away, and you've gone to Amazon, and Amazon will guarantee delivery of Haggados about a week after the Seder. So it's not going to help you very much. The shul, we have Haggados. If you need Haggados, let me know, and you can borrow Haggados from the shul. Rav Eidelitz's booklets that normally are in the shul to be taken, they're going to be delivered tomorrow, and they're going to be delivered to my house. So anybody who wants booklets, they will be available at my house. You can come by and pick up those booklets. We'll probably leave them outside just so we have the proper social distancing. But the booklets will be available at my house. So the moral over here is that you don't need to worry. Don't panic, even if you haven't done this before. This is doable, and it will be a very, very beautiful and hopefully a very, very memorable Pesach for all. Some of the issues that sometimes come up Pesach, which will not this year, is airline meal. Okay, sorry. Right? Airline meals sometimes are a problem on Pesach, but I don't think we'll have the problem this year. Bad joke. Okay, what can I do? Trying to keep things a little bit light over here because things are getting kind of serious in the world. Okay, let's move on to some of the things that are unique this year, that are different this year. There's been a bit of a number of articles that have come out about using Zoom. There you are, Alan, I see you. About using Zoom for your Seder. This was a ruling by a number of Sephardic rabbis in Israel saying that you could set it up before Yom Tov and then just have it run. That was a rule. So far, many have come out against that ruling, including the chief rabbinate of Israel. Just so we have a bit of an understanding, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but that ruling is based on a number of considerations. One consideration is that according to some Sephardic rabbis, electricity can be used on Yom Tov. Just like you can pass a flame to a flame, electricity can be used on Yom Tov. Rav Ovadia Yosef, who is the chief posek of the Sephardic world, I would say, said that one should not use electricity on Yom Tov. Even on the tzad that one can use electricity on Yom Tov, that idea is incandescent lights is considered a fire that's being passed on, according to those who say that it is. But computers are not working with incandescent lights. It's not electricity, it's electronics, and therefore it's very, very different. So, but there is an organization in Israel called Somet. Somet is an organization that works to find halachic solutions for different challenges. When I visit my in-laws in Century Village, Deerfield Beach, you have many who are riding around on their grumma cycles, which are these little automated bikes that they go on, like a scooter, right, which works on many, many different halachic ideas of grumma, of causing. So it seems that Somet has been in touch with Zoom and Google, trying to find a halakhically acceptable solution. But that which was proposed by that group of rabbis, I would just say, has not been widely accepted by across the halachic world. Okay. When it comes, so Nim, you asked about the Tanit Bechor, the fasting of the firstborn. Normally, we have a custom that a firstborn son fasts on Erev Pesach. And if you're not a firstborn son, if you have a firstborn son who's not yet bar mitzvahed, then you would fast on behalf of that firstborn son. And then we go to a siyum, and with that siyum, you celebrate with that siyum, and therefore you eat at that siyum, and you do not need to fast. The question that's been bouncing around is, this year where we're not going to siyums, so what should be done? So there have been a number of approaches. Rav Henkin held that we no longer have the minhag to fast on Erev Pesach because everyone here is a siyum. And therefore what's being promoted is you can hear a siyum via Zoom, via GoToMeeting, as we are doing right now. Therefore, on Erev Pesach, we've been having a morning minyan with a good 13, 14 people participating every morning, not actually, but we do it as we're doing it right now. And it's a Vasikin minyan. So we time it that we get to Shemona Esrei right by sunrise. After the minyan that we will have on Erev Pesach, we'll be making a siyum via Zoom. Therefore, everyone can go to meeting, whatever. Everyone can join that, and that will be considered you were part of the siyum, even though I won't have a minyan here, even though you won't be here in body, that will be considered making a siyum. Even if a person misses and doesn't hear that, then a person still will be able to break their fast, because during these times we need to be strong and healthy, that if we do encounter the virus, we want to give our body the best possibility that it has to fight off that virus. And therefore join through the meeting, the virtual scene that I'll be making. And even if you don't, you do not need to fast. Also, when it comes to burning the chametz, so normally we gather together at the shul and we burn our chametz. We will not be gathering together at the shul and burning our chametz this year. Therefore, what everyone should do is, sometimes people come to the burning with bags of noodles and boxes of cereal. Don't do that, okay? Even if you normally try not to sell what's called chametz gamor, what's called real McCoy chametz, this year you can be lenient and you can sell that, or just get rid of it before Pesach, not necessarily, if need to be, in your dumpster and make it in your garbage receptacle and make it hefker. Or if you can bring it to, if you are going out shopping, drop it into one of the garbage cans that are out there. But then on Erev Pesach, if you have a barbecue or if you have a fire pit in your backyard, you can burn it. If not, so then again, we don't want to have bags and bags of noodles and loaves of bread, right? Little pieces. When you put out your 10 pieces the night before to check for chametz, make them little pieces and put them into a little bag so it doesn't spread the crumbs around. And then you would take all those and you can make sure that they get into little crumbs and flush them down the toilet, right? That will also be a way, give it a burial at sea. That will also be a way of doing your biur chametz, of getting rid of your chametz on Erev Pesach. Also keep in mind that being that we have a Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday, Yom Tov, and then we go straight into Shabbos Kodesh. So this is a situation where we need to make an Eruv Tavshilin, which is setting aside matzah and an egg. It's in the back of the Sidur. I think it's page 654. I'm not sure if it's in the back of the Art Scroll Sidur. You set that aside and you say, I'm designating that. And by doing that, you're starting your preparations for Shabbos while even before Yom Tov, and that way you can continue with your preparations on Yom Tov to prepare from Yom Tov for Shabbos. Of course, only things that you're allowed to do on Yom Tov. So those are the somewhat unique aspects that we have going on this year with the Tanis Bechor, the burning flushing. Also, we should not be having guests, even though Pesach is normally, the whole thing is bringing the people, Kol Dichvin Yeseh V'Yechol, Kol Dishruch Yeseh V'Yisech, whoever needs, come and join us. But we have to be responsible, we have to be careful, we have to protect our health, and also be sure to protect the health of those who are perhaps more vulnerable than we are. And therefore, we'll be doing it again on our own at home this year. But again, there's an abundance of food in OC Kosher. You can go there, you can order online. Vivian, HOTZ, stuff at cox.net. Order from Vivian, and you'll have a beautiful, wonderful Seder and Pesach that follows. Okay, let's go. Any other questions about the pre-stuff? Then I want to go to preparations and also go through different items that are available, not available, which things need certification, which things don't need certification.
Is there, before you light the candles, that's when you say the Eruv Tavshilim?
Yes, yes, yes. The Erev Tavshilin should be done any point during the day on Wednesday of Erev Pesach. Any point during the day is when the Erev Tavshilin should be set aside.
Thank you.
Are there anything you have to know about selling the
Yeah,
chametz?
normally it's a piece of matzah and an egg, and you set that aside, a hard-boiled egg, and you set that aside to eat on Shabbos, right? But it can be any made food.
About selling the chametz, is there anything?
Okay, good, thank you. Selling the chametz, so normally it's ideal to make a kinyan with me and thereby authorize me as your agent to sell your chametz. We will not be making a kinyan in person, but you can simply, I'll be getting a lot of emailed forms. On the Beth Jacob website is the form to fill out, and then email it to me, and I will take care of it. I will speak to Jose. We'll have to see exactly how Jose and I are going to manage it this year. But I will be selling the chametz. Oh, good. Along with selling the chametz, so there is an issue with tevilat kalim, with immersing vessels in the mikveh, which means metal or glass, new vessels that were not made by Jews, so it wasn't bought in Israel, needs to be immersed in a mikveh. Okay, not to be confused with kosherizing different things for Pesach, right? Which would be done through either immersion in boiling hot water or blowtorching. But I would strongly recommend that we get those who are making Pesach for the first time, get yourself a few pans, a few pots, a few things that you need. It will need to be immersed in the mikveh, but we're not immersing in the mikveh right now. The women's mikveh is open, and that is being monitored and cleansed, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the CDC and the Rabbanim all say there's no reason not to be utilizing the mikvahs. There's already social distancing happening over there, so there is not an issue. But out of an abundance of caution, and because the Keilah mikveh is not treated in the same level and same intense level as the women's mikveh, out of an abundance of caution, we are not, the mikveh Keilim are, the Keilah mikveh, they are closed. Therefore, one can immerse it in the ocean, or what one can do is you can include in your document that those vessels are being sold along with your chametz. Therefore, those vessels will be owned by Jose. I will speak to Jose. He's a very nice guy, and I'm quite confident that even though he'll be the proud owner of all those new vessels, he'll be fine letting you use his vessels over Pesach. Once it's no longer owned by a Jew, it does not require tevilah. It does not require immersion. So that is the pathway that is being promoted this year in terms of new kalim that need to be immersed.
When they put them away, they should mark them so that they can.
Right, but you should know, have some sort of marking, whatever it is on it, so that you know that once this passes, then once this pass over, then you should immerse them properly. Okay, so that's also tevilas kalim, something else that is pretty unique for this year, really unprecedented.
You can
Okay,
probably also take it to the lake or the beach, right? You don't have to
the
take it to the
beach,
cave.
yes. The lake, I don't think
It
so,
has to be
right?
natural water source.
Yes, because it needs to be a natural water source, and our Woodbridge lake over here is not. So the lake would not work. The ocean is the very best mikvah, right? So if one wants to venture out to the ocean, one that will certainly take care of the mitzvah of tefillas kalim. That's the very best mikvah that we have.
Are the beaches
Okay.
open?
The beach is open. People are not supposed to be congregating at the beach, but I don't think the beaches get closed. I don't think they have a way of closing the beaches. If you go to Laguna, there's, the beaches. Yeah.
They were talking about, because people were congregating anyway, they were talking about closing them or not letting
Okay. So
people go on the beach.
I'm not sure.
But just be
I'm not
careful.
sure. If one can access the ocean, then once again, that is an excellent, excellent mikvah. Okay, when it comes to the preparations, to the cleaning, so somebody sent me a very cute thing, right? They wrote, I used to always say that the reason I don't do a thorough cleaning of my house is because I just don't have enough time. This last week disproved that, okay? So Pesach cleaning does not need to be a spring cleaning, and certainly those of us who have little kids at home, it's going to be challenging. So you want to make sure that you don't have chametz lying around. You want to do a good cleaning of the rooms, checking for chametz. Right? It doesn't need to be a whole spring cleaning. It just needs to be checking that there isn't chametz around.
Dust isn't
Right? Dust is not chametz. Okay? Certain kids' toys, Play-Doh, stuff like that is actual chametz. So those with little kids and Play-Doh, you want to be careful to put that away. That is actual chametz gamor. That is actual, real, pure, unadulterated, maybe slightly adulterated chametz. Okay? But we don't need to go crazy dusting every area. You want to make sure that you don't have chametz around. Someone wrote that that with their time at home, they finished the entire Shas, and then all the Gemara, all the Mishnayos, all the Shulchan Aruch, and he wanted to thank his wife for encouraging him. And now he's going to the next shelf where he has his Chumashim and all this other Svarim, right? So if you've got kids who are putting pretzels behind your books, then you need to go through that. Otherwise, you don't need to go through everything. You don't need to make yourself crazy. We need to search for the chametz, and that's meant to parallel our own searching ourselves to try to get rid of our chametz, whether it's our laziness or our haughtiness. When it comes to the kitchen, so there, let's go through the different appliances that we have and how we do our koshering of that. Counters, if you've got stainless steel, granite, or composite stone, anything, all right, or formica, anything but ceramic tile, those can be koshered. And the way that you kosher that for Pesach is by pouring boiling hot water, cleaning it well. Thank you, Natalie. Cleaning it well. I always think about the cleaning part. Cleaning it well, and then pouring boiling hot water over the entire surface. Alternatively, you can cover the counters with different materials that you might choose. But if you want to kosher, it makes it easiest, right? So you can kosher all of the different countertops, materials again, granite, composite stone, formica, but not ceramic tiles. If you have a stainless steel sink, so then you would simply pour boiling hot water. First, don't use it for 24 hours with anything hot. Make sure it's clean, and then pour boiling hot water over the entire sink and also over the faucets and also over the knobs and the faucet and the spout, right? Rabbi Idolitz in his shir brought back from, I think from Lakewood, a special cover that could go over your spout, and he said you don't need it. Okay, there's no reason to have a spout cover. You just need to pour boiling hot water. If you don't have a stainless steel sink, then it cannot be koshered. It cannot be made kosher for Pesach. And therefore, it will need to be covered. Either you can get a bin, a plastic bin that sits inside the sink, or you could take aluminum foil and kind of thick aluminum foil and do your best to fill it up all around that. Certainly with a stainless steel sink, that makes life a lot easier and a lot clearer. Okay, ovens. So if you've got a self-cleaning oven, then you're in really good shape. You have to remove anything that might be any visible stains, anything that might be there. Run your self-clean cycle with the racks in there, and you are good to go.
You can't do with the racks in there, so then you have to clean them well and then put them in and burn them out.
Put them in a regular cycle.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Now, if you've got a self-cleaning oven that tells you to take the racks out when you're self-cleaning, so then you will do what you'll run the self-cleaning oven, right? And you'll do what you do if you don't have a self-cleaning oven. If you don't have a self-cleaning oven, so then you do what's called libun. The idea when it comes to koshering is however it went in, that's how it gets removed. So therefore, what you need to do is clean your oven very well. And if you have any stains, use like an easy off, one of those caustic sprays, and clean it well. And then run your oven for 45 minutes to an hour at the highest setting. Because again, that's how anything would have gone in, that's how anything will come out. Going back to the self-cleaning oven, if you have tray racks that you can't keep in during the self-clean, so run the self-clean without the racks, clean the racks well, and then cook the racks in the oven by turning it to its highest setting and letting it run for 45 minutes to an hour.
If anybody wants a good hack on how to clean their oven shelves, they can get in touch with me.
Okay, and Natalie's going to give us a good hack on cleaning.
They could get in touch with me if they need a good hack to how to clean their racks.
Okay, Natalie says if you want a good hack on cleaning your racks, the oven racks, right? Be in touch with her, and she will share that information. Okay, a good hack on that. Maybe you make a little, we could post it on the website. We'll see. Okay. Now, the stove tops are a little bit more difficult. Okay. If you've got yourself a metal stovetop with grates that completely covers it, so you want to clean it well, you want to cover with aluminum foil, and then you want to burn those what I do is I take aluminum foil, I fold it over a couple of times, I put it on top, do them one at a time. When we had a glass top, I did all four at once.
It wasn't a flat glass top.
Not a flat glass, right? We had the metal, what do you call those? Tripods, whatever the pot sat on, and it was a glass surface underneath. And after I did after I did all 4 at once, I no longer had a glass top underneath. It shattered. So you want to be very careful if you've got glass not to do them all at once. But I would take aluminum foil, fold it over so it gets a little bit thick, put it on top of each one, turn the fire on high, and then it gets red hot, and that will thereby kosher out any of the grates that you have. If you've got, that's if you have a gas stovetop, right?
Rabbi,
Or if you have an electric stovetop. If you have a glass stovetop, then we have some problems, right? One of those flat glass stovetops. What should happen is as follows, right? It should be cleaned well. Don't use it for 24 hours. And you should not put any pots on the side glass surface. You should only use that area where it gets heated up. And you should put aluminum or a metal disc on that so the pots are sitting on that, right? And then not put it onto the other glass surfaces around. So the glass stovetop gets a lot more difficult. Someone
Rabbi?
asked,
So why do we kosher the stovetop if we're not eating off of it? We're not preparing food directly on it. There's a vessel above it, and if the
correct.
vessel is kosher, then why worry about the stovetop?
Good. So the place where we put the pots, there are concerned is sometimes food has spilled onto that. Right? Chametz food has spilled onto that. Now I'm going to put my kosher for Passover pot on that, right? So it's coming in contact with that chametz that might have spilled. That's why we want to clean it well, and we want to fire it up, burn it out, get it good and hot. On the sides of the stovetop, again, there are food spills, and if you're going to take a pot and put it down on top of that, that's going to be a problem. Keep in mind, Matt and everybody else, that when it comes to Pesach, whereas normally we have the concept of bitul, which is a 60-to-1 ratio, makes it nullified and no longer relevant, we don't say that by Pesach. Whereas we have a concept of Eino Ben Yomo, once it's past 24 hours, then it no longer has any potency. We don't say that by Pesach. So Pesach, and the prohibition of eating chametz on Pesach is not a regular level of a lav, of a don't, but it's upgraded to a karet, to a spiritual cutting off. That's why we do go a little bit OCD when it comes to Pesach, but not too much, okay? But so that's the stove, the stovetop, the sink, the counter, the refrigerator. The refrigerator needs to be immersed in a mikvah. I'm kidding, don't worry. The refrigerator does not get hot. It's not a big deal. The refrigerator and freezer needs to be cleaned out well. Right, you want to use like a chlorine, right? If there is any of those available anymore. Clorox, right? You want to use Clorox if you can find it, and toilet paper. No, I'm kidding, right? You want to use Clorox, right, to clean it well. A good cleanser, that's your fridge, that's your freezer, and then you are good to go. You don't need to cover things in the refrigerator. It's all cold in there. If it's not cold in there, call a technician and get it fixed, right? So a refrigerator, being that it's cold, or freezer even colder, is a lot easier when it comes to that. You want to use a good cleanser, clean it well, and then you are good to go. Dishwashers, if you've got unless you've got a full stainless steel dishwasher, we don't really use the dishwashers on Pesach. And if the dishes are going to be a problem, get disposable, right? In general, right? Especially this year, right? Those who are doing things for the first time, right? Get a lot of disposable stuff, pans, as much as you can, go disposable, and make life a lot easier. Okay.
Rabbi, Rabbi,
Yes.
if you do have a stainless steel dishwasher, but the racks in there aren't necessarily stainless steel, right? So there's plastic stuff.
Right. You're right. So sometimes the racks are also stainless steel, and then you're good to go. Otherwise, right, you have to kosher it, but it can be koshered. Otherwise, we when it comes to Pesach, even though in general we would and we can, a person moves into a house, they can kosher their dishwasher by running 3 full cycles with soap at the highest cycles, empty with soap at the 3 highest cycles, and then it's considered koshered, and then they could use it for either meat or dairy. When it comes to Pesach, we shy away from that. Similarly, when it comes to microwaves, unless you've got most other microwaves have plastic in there, right? So best not to use the microwave. If you have a fully stainless steel microwave, so then you can kosher that by putting in water and letting it boil out. It needs to be cleaned very well. You'll need to replace the glass bowl. It also gets very complicated. What we've done is we have a kosher lepesach that we take out every year, toaster oven. And you put matzah and some sauce and some cheese in there, and it keeps the kids and the adults who eat like kids very, very happy throughout Chol HaMoed. Microwaves, again, get very, very complicated since most of our microwaves are not fully stainless steel. Tables
What's
should be.
what what is again the issue with glass? So I'm having trouble understand. So glass isn't by nature porous, right? So how can it have chametz on it if you clean it well?
Yes. So once again, right, in the old days, people would have a set of glass dishes and they would use that for meat and dairy, right? Relying on what Alan had said, that doesn't really absorb. Nowadays, we don't do that. But either way, when it comes to Pesach, we don't rely on that. Even though there are things that we rely on year round, when it comes to Pesach, we don't rely on that. Right. Also, keep in mind that a lot of those glass plates. I don't know if they're straight glass or if they're like Corning, if there are other things mixed in, which then becomes more of an issue. Right. In other words, when it comes to Corningware, so that is not considered glass in regard to what you had said, Alan. And I'm not sure of the exact composition of those glass plates that we have in the microwaves. But when it comes to Pesach, we don't rely on that. Okay. Tables should be cleaned well and covered. Baby high chairs should be cleaned well. And also, once again, the food surfaces should be covered. Someone had emailed me about the hot water urn. A hot water urn that is only used for hot water. So there, what you want to do is clean the outside well, make sure nothing has spilled on it, and you would also pour hot water over the spout where you put your cups of whatever it might be, coffee, tea, hot chocolate, that spout which has other things touching it, you want to pour boiling hot water on that, and that way you will be covered. If you've got one of a cold water cooler, right, so that you just want to clean well, and again you want to pour some boiling hot water over the spout area, which is where things might have touched it at some point, but you could use your hot water urn and you could use your water cooler. Any other questions about the kitchen?
On top of, oh, sorry. Okay, somebody else, and then I.
Ruti, it's all yours.
I wanted to ask about the gas stove top. There is on top of that where the air comes out. There is a piece that you can remove, and you can clean it. So you have to pour hot water on that too.
I'm not sure what you mean, Ruti.
Did you want
Like a hood?
Yeah, there is something on top that it's under the microwave usually, and it's absorbing all your the smells.
Oh, interesting. Yes. So that you want to make sure that it's that it's clean, right? You want to make
It's
sure that that
tricky.
is clean.
The problem is,
You want
so,
to make sure that it's clean, that sometimes there might be some grease that's accumulated over there. So you want to make
yes,
sure that that's clean,
but
right? But
also when
you're not going to pour boiling hot water over there.
okay, but when we kosher the stovetop, also the like from the heat, it like hits that top, and then it drips down. So even after I cleaned it, so I just
So
need to.
again, the stove top, you want to clean it well, and then you want to cover it with aluminum foil, and then put the grates on top.
But so you don't have to you don't have to run the fire and have it
You
like
don't need to blowtorch
burn.
it, if that's what you mean.
Okay, I get it. Thank
Okay,
you.
sure. Someone else was about to ask something also?
Yeah, Rabbi, what about a Keurig coffee machine?
Okay, so the Keurig, that's getting into koshering plastic, right? So we try to avoid doing that on Pesach, right? For those who are going to kosher their plastic, so the OU says, let it be cleaned well, not used for 24 hours, remove the K cup holder, and do Hagala, pour some water or Eroy onto the K cup holder, and then run a kosher for Pesach K cup through the machine. That's the instructions that the OU gives. The OU, do people get the OU magazine again? Unfortunately, they usually ship us a bunch. I don't think they did this year. But if you go online, you have the OU.org. I'm sure there'll be a link there for their Pesach magazine, where they go through step by step how to take care of the Keurig and how to navigate your way throughout the kitchen.
So, Rabbi, an ordinary coffee bean, is that kosher for Pesach? Do you need a special hechsher?
Coffee?
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to different products, and we will come to coffee by doing that. Okay, and when it
Rabbi,
comes to products, the book that I will have the books that I'll have brought to my house for distribution from Rav Eidlitz, right, is a wonderful, wonderful uh, resource for all of these things. Okay, but let me go through some of the main things.
Rabbi,
Okay.
what about steamers? If you have a steamer, can you use that to kosher your kitchen?
Steamers, no. You want to be pouring boiling hot water.
Thanks.
Okay, yeah, because the steamer will not be, again, the general concept. Was that Warren?
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah,
Warren.
Warren.
Good
Hi.
to hear your voice. Good. Yeah. So again, the general concept is kabolo kach polto. However it was absorbed, that's how it will be expelled, right? And the steam does not have the same intensity as the actual liquid that may have come in contact. So you want to have the boiling hot water coming in contact in order to expunge it of anything that might be there. Okay.
Sorry, can I
Uh,
ask one more
sure.
question? When you pour the boiling water on the granite top on the counter, do you need to have even melubenet that is going to keep the water hot?
Okay. Okay. So Ruti's bringing up there are some who are stricter and say, in addition, as I'm pouring the boiling hot water, I want to have a hot stone. And what happens then? When I pour the boiling hot water, it hits the hot stone. And that really, really keeps it boiling every moment. And that is a better way of doing it, but it's not a required way of doing it. Okay, if that's your custom to always do that, then you might want to continue with that, but it's not, it doesn't have to be done in such a way. Okay, it's
Thank you.
okay,
I didn't
it's
do
kosher
it.
even without that.
Thank you. I didn't do it before, but I was just asking because I heard this. So thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, let's get now on to different products. Now, the OU has a list of things that don't need any certification. That includes aluminum foil, all aluminum foil. You might see some that have a hechsher, doesn't have a hechsher. You might be wondering, why is it that one side is shiny, the other side is not shiny? Oh, do they use an oil? They don't use an oil. When it's pressed and they're manufacturing that, that is what happens. All aluminum foil, all aluminum pans are fine. All soaps that you're going to be using, body wash, shampoo, all of those are fine. When it comes to toothpaste, that would, or mouthwash, floss, that which is literally going into our mouths, there it's different. But shampoo, body wash, all fine. All soaps, all deodorants are fine. All detergents, all dishwashing detergents, right, can be used on Pesach without any certification. Other things here, that all plates, whether they're paper, whether they're plastic, whether they are styrofoam, all of those can be used. All napkins can be used. All of the dish paper towels, right? All of those can be used. All of those, right? You don't need a hechsher, right? Skin cream, soaps, talcum powder, right? All of those things. Toilet paper, if you can find, right? All of those things don't need anything for Pesach. All of those are fine all year round. Do not need any hechsher, any certification at all.
Rabbi,
Going
One sec.
somebody.
Um,
Okay, David, you go ahead first.
I was wondering about hand sanitizer.
hand sanitizer is fine, right? All hand sanitizers are fine. If you can find any, let me know. But all hand sanitizers are fine, David.
They have to be always new packages, though.
No,
Aluminum foil,
no.
if it's been in the kitchen.
Look, if it's been in the kitchen, right, and you were, eating your oatmeal over it, right, so you might want to wipe it down, right? But right, look, something
Things like
that's
soaps and
been
everything.
around the chametz, you wouldn't want to be putting onto your Pesach counters, onto your Pesach table, but it's not a problem utilizing the hand sanitizer.
But Rabbi, how is how's hand sanitizer different from, regular grain alcohol? I mean, there is alcohol in the sanitizer. So yeah, unless it's
So I think the idea behind that would be the same thing, the same reason why I said all soaps, all shampoos, even though some shampoo might have certain things in it, some oats or who knows what in it, right? But it is certainly what's called nifsal me'achilat kelev. It is not. It's something that even a dog would not consume, right? And therefore, it's beyond it's beyond chametz. It's nifsal me'achilat kelev.
Some alcoholics might, disagree with you, but that's a different story.
The dogs are agreeing. I can't go further than that. Okay. Let's go on to different foods and food products. Okay, all fresh vegetables are fine, of course. Some of them need to be checked for bugs. That doesn't change. But all vegetables are fine. When it comes to frozen vegetables, so there, many of the packers of Idlet says in the same, they're using the same equipment to process pasta and also vegetables. Therefore, frozen vegetables would need to have certification. Otherwise, you would not be using it on Passover certification, right? Oh, also parchment paper. Parchment paper does need to have proper certification because that, whereas aluminum foil and plastic wrap does not, plastic bags, all those things do not, parchment paper does because that is often dusted with a with cornstarch, right, or right, which would be kitniot, or even other flour, which could be actual chametz. So parchment paper does need to have proper certification on it. Okay, when it comes to milk, when it comes to eggs, Costco had eggs today. They were limiting it to one per customer, but one was a five dozen pack. So that's pretty substantial. Okay, the eggs and the milk, including if a person wants to have the lactose-free milk, those are all fine and should be bought, ideally should be bought before, by the eggs, ideally, by the milk, needs to be bought before Pesach. If you can find OU Pesach, kosher for Pesach milk, beautiful, right? Chalav Yisroel milk, but it does not need to be. However, there are many additives that go into the milk, different vitamins, which are often derived from chametz or kitnius. But they are such a small amount that even though I told you that when it comes, we don't have 1/60th becoming nullified, that's only on Pesach. But anything before Pesach, the regular laws apply. And therefore, if you got that milk before Pesach, it was already nullified before Pesach. So even if those vitamins, are derived from kitnios or chametz, it's not going to be a problem. So buy your milk before Pesach. The milk should be bought before Pesach. When it comes to milk substitutes, there you have to be very careful. There is almond milk we bought in OC Kosher, which is kosher for Pesach. But otherwise, a lot of them, certainly oat milk is a serious problem, right? That's literally chametz, oats, right? And others.
Rabbi, you said almond milk is kosher for Pesach?
I said there is almond milk in OC Kosher that is certified kosher for Passover. Otherwise, you have to be careful. You can't just buy regular almond milk because that has different things that are added in, be it kitnius, be it chametz, and that is a problem. Okay. So those, right, and certainly soy milk, right, is actual kitnius. So that will be an issue. Okay. Now, when it comes to baby formula, that is kitnios, but that is okay for the babies. But you want to be careful that you don't wash that for B'nai Ashkenaz who don't consume kitnios. You want to be careful to wash that off in a bathroom sink or elsewhere, not to wash that off in your regular kosher for Pesach sink and using the regular kosher for Pesach things. Different nuts I mentioned before. Well, chia seeds, flax seeds. So that does not need to have kosher for Pesach certification, as long as it's nothing else added in, right? And it's raw without any additives, then you are fine. Also in Costco, they have the large almond flour. And that I spoke to Rav Eidelitz. That can be used year round. That can be used on Pesach. I mentioned before, if you're getting nuts, we'll come to that soon. Let me go in order over here. Coffee. People asked about coffee. So if you have coffee, just regular coffee beans or coffee that's ground up, regular, not decaffeinated, but regular, do not require special Pesach certification, right? If you're grinding it yourself, the grinder must be cleaned, right? But regular coffee does not require. There are some instant coffees that can be bought that do not require Pesach certification, and that is Folgers, regular, unflavored, right? And Nescafe Taster's Choice, regular, unflavored. The only decaf that can be gotten without kosher certification is the Folgers decaf. Folgers, thank you, Natalie. You see, I'm not a coffee drinker. Folgers, right? That has the OU, okay? And that's decaf, right? That is fine, even without the certification. Okay, I mentioned before, dish detergents, all of those are fine. Eggs, all of the eggs are okay. Some eggs are pasteurized. That also is okay. The only issue with eggs is that they may have been exposed to chametz, chicken feed, and other stuff beforehand. That's why it's preferable to buy your eggs before Pesach. Okay, so purchase already cleaned eggs before Pesach. Okay, I mentioned flax seed, so that is okay. You just want to make sure there aren't any other grains that might have gotten mixed in. I mentioned lactate milk, right? Should be purchased before Pesach. The lactate capsules, should not use them on Pesach. We normally use them. Okay. Normally, we try to get kosher LePesach meat and poultry. Again, OC Kosher is there and ready for us. You can order online. You can go there in person. You could, email in an order. When you walk in there, it'll be all ready for you. That's the ideal. People had asked me they had bought OU chicken at Costco and OU meat at Costco that was not specifically OUP. And I spoke to Rabbi Eidelitz about it, and that can be used on Pesach. Also, the Kirkland fish there, the OU salmon that they sell in Costco, even though it doesn't say OUP, that can be used on Pesach. Nuts, all raw, whole, or chopped. Almonds, walnuts, pine nuts, without additives and preservatives, can be used on Pesach. I mentioned today we got these big bags of almonds and walnuts and these plastic containers. Now you have to be careful. If it's salted, if it's roasted, right? Obviously, those cannot be used without full, proper Pesach certification. But if we're talking about whole or chopped, not ground, because then already they're using machinery that's used for different things. not ground, but whole or chopped when it's raw without additives or preservatives, that can be bought and used year round and can be used on Pesach. Oils need a hechsher, but extra virgin olive oil does not need to have any extra Pesach certification. So, right, as long as it has its the OU policy is that all extra virgin oils with an OU do not require any special Pesach certification. Paper towels, I said, does not need parchment paper, right? Paper towels, paper cups. So again, all that plasticware, plastic silverware, all types of plates, napkins, cups, all of that does not need anything at all. All of that is fine and can be used. The parchment paper I mentioned, that is where it gets a little bit tricky. Salt. All salt, well, all salt that does not have additives. If it's iodized salt, if that's been added, that's a problem. But any salt that does not have that iodine added, right, if it's not listed as an ingredient, that is fine. Sugar. So we're very fortunate here in California that, well, regular white sugar is not any granulated pure white cane white sugar is fine. But here we've got the C&H, which is all year round, the regular sugar. Now, brown sugar does need, hey, Leo's there. All right, brown sugar does need kosher for Pesach certification, does need kosher for Pesach certification, but it has it. The C&H brand of sugar, their confectionery sugar, their brown sugar, they have a light brown, they have a dark brown, they have regular sugar. That is OKP all year round. So that is very, very easy for us. Tea bags, if they're regular, unflavored, again, not the decaf, but regular, unflavored, those are fine. I mentioned before when it comes to things that are going into our mouth, toothpaste, mouthwash, and floss. So there are some things that have kosher certification, beautiful, but there are also others which don't have kosher certification but are okay. So when it comes to mouthwash, Listerine, plain and zero is fine, and Colgate is fine, and Scope. So Scope, there we go. Crest is not necessarily fine. Someone just flashing a Crest at me. I don't think Crest is not on the list.
So
But
what is on the
Colgate,
list, Rabbi?
I'm sorry?
So what is on the list? So this crest, last year we used this. Was on the list.
I don't see it on the list this year, but
Well,
I can find out.
okay.
Okay? Right?
So,
What's on this list is Colgate, Listerine, Plain, Zero, and Listermint, Scope, Tom's of Maine, and then he writes again Colgate, right? I'm not sure. So Colgate, Scope, and Listerine, Plain, Zero, and Listermint are all fine. When it
That's why
comes to
you can always use the hand sanitizer if you need.
might be easier to get mouthwash, Alan, than find hand sanitizer these days. Okay, when it comes to the floss, you don't want the flavored. Now, almost all the dental tape that I've come across is mint flavored. Floss, you can find some that is not. For those who prefer dental tape and you only have floss, you might consider doubling it. That's worked for me. But you want your floss to be unflavored. Wax, I don't think is a problem. The only problem is when it's flavored. When it comes to toothpaste, so there are some that are kosher lepesach, but you can get Colgate, Pepsodent, and Aim. All of those are fine. So if you don't normally use those, Crest again is not on the list. Good. Lastly, water. Now we always find it amusing when water has an OU on it, right? And water does not need an OU. It's water. Even if they're adding minerals, which they do, and vitamins sometimes, it does not need an OU. However, it does not need kosher certification. However, when it comes to Pesach, you just want to check that it does not have citric acid added. Some waters, was it one year that I think Target, I'm not sure. Some waters that you buy, the regular waters, sometimes have citric acid added. And the way that is formulated involves kitnios. So that you don't want to have, but any water, as long as it doesn't have citric acid added to it, that water is fine for Pesach.
A quick question about the toothpaste.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not actually like the toothpaste that are not allowed are not actually chametz. So do they need to get sold off, or are they just don't use them?
Correct. You'd want to put it away. You'd want to put it away. It's not actual chametz, but you want to put it away.
Rabbi.
Yes.
The last year, you remember you say it's not allowed to the Kirkland water that came in for Costco. You remember? Last year we not allowed to use the Kirkland water.
The water from Costco?
Yes.
So if I said that last year, I would imagine I said that because it had citric acid added. Want to take a look? Oh.
Yeah, this year they said it only have minerals and they have a.
Okay, this is the signature. 1 second over here.
Where's the water?
Warning, may contain water. No, I'm kidding. 1 second. Where are we here? Purified water, calcium chloride, sodium bicarbonate, so that's not going to be a problem. Only if it lists citric acid is it a problem.
Okay. Last year was citric acid. That's
Actually, we're going to check right now because we did get water at Costco today.
Okay. Thank you, Rabbi.
Just 1 second. We're checking right now. Neither of us can see. Oh, gosh. Purified water, pardon me. Potassium bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate, calcium citrate, sodium chloride, and magnesium oxide. So if it does not list the citric acid, then we are okay.
Is it potassium citrate?
Okay, so good. So we have a chemist over here. Thank you, Art. So help me out over here. Okay, purified water, good. That's the first ingredient. That's good to hear. Potassium bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate, calcium citrate. Is that citric acid?
Citric acid.
Okay. Yeah. So the Costco water, you don't have to burn it, but you don't want to drink it on
I assume they make it the same way. Citrate. I don't know how they make citric acid that has to do with kidney yolk, but
I think it has to do with the binding more than the actual citrate. I don't know, Art. You know a lot better than I.
Excuse me, I don't
think
have it. Calcium citrate is the same as citric acid.
Well, I'm sorry, say it again.
I don't believe that citric acid is the same as calcium citrate until you divide it down into components, which is not what they've done.
Okay. I'm going to send a text right now. Okay, I will find out. Let me see if I get an answer right now. 1 second. Okay, so the question
So just
is,
a quick Google search. It looks like the formula is a little bit different. Calcium citrate is, here I can copy paste into the chat. I'm not going to try to pronounce all these things, but the formula is slightly different.
okay. Okay, I will find out if that is or is not a problem. Okay. I will find out about the calcium citrate, if that is the citric acid issue or not. Okay.
Rabbi,
Fine.
what about like we have a bunch of like vitamin C tablets. Vitamin C is like ascorbic acid.
Yeah,
Is that a problem?
it is. Yes, that would need to be kosher certified.
Even during the epidemic?
It's a big question. It says
I believe so. I believe so. For a healthy,
Corona
strapping young man like you, Alan, I believe so.
The corona and the citrate and the calcium all start with C. I'd be worried.
Right.
Okay.
For cooking oil, besides olive oil, what other options we can use for cooking during Pesach?
Okay, so at OC Kosher, they had sunflower oil, they had walnut oil, there's coconut oil, saffron, was it? There was another one that was there, and they also had, right, all that needs to be, Pesach certified, right? Canola oil that we often use, right? That is not for Pesach. That is kitnios.
Okay.
Right? But OC Kosher has a nice assortment of different types of oils that are all kosher Pesach certified. The only thing that doesn't need to be kosher Pesach certified is that extra virgin olive oil. Okay, any other questions out there? Okay, so please.
Rabbi, just a question. I buy a couple ones of these packs of the Crest mouthwash. So can I leave it just on the bottom of the sink? Not use it, or
Correct. You just want to put it away. That's correct.
put it away? That's it, and then we use later on.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That would not go into the category of chametz she'avar alav Pesach, which means chametz that was owned by a Jew throughout Passover, so that you don't get any benefit from it after Pesach. That's why at the end of Pesach, I'll send out an email with a list of the stores that are not Jewish owned. And here, Ralph's, Albertsons, Trader Joe's, Wholesome Choice, Target, all of those stores are not Jewish owned, and therefore there's not an issue of the chametz being owned by a Jew over Pesach and not being sold, and you not getting hana'ah benefit from it. Right? It's only if you have. Actually, there is a certain in Kentucky. There's a certain distillery that makes bourbon that's owned by a Jew, and he refuses to sell his chametz. So that bourbon is a problem all year round, which is a real problem for people who are heavy drinkers like myself. But yeah. Okay. Any other questions out there?
Yes. Aviva said have a Play-Doh. The Play-Doh.
Yes, Play-Doh is a problem. Play-Doh is a problem. That's
So we have to
actual chametz.
put it away or throw it away.
No, I would say just put that with the chametz that you're selling. That's real chametz.
We don't know. See, that was really close.
Okay.
Okay.
Next week, I'm looking to have another similar, probably the same time, another class, another get together, but we'll be going over the Pesach Seder. Again, some of you might be leading a Seder for one of the first times. So, and usually I don't like to give away all my ammunition, as my father-in-law calls it, because I need to give a Seder in the shul. But since I'm not doing that, I'll give away all my ammunition, and we'll go through the Seder, different things that we do at different points, and share some divrei Torah, some thoughts on the Seder, especially as it relates to the unique situation that we're in this year. Tonight is Rosh Chodesh. Those who are still going to daven Mariv, make sure to include Ya'aleh V'yavo. And we have been saying Avinu Malkeinu during our Shacharis minyan every morning. We stopped saying that, but it really hit me today as I said the words Hashem Shvi Haser Dever, remove a dever, the pestilence, or magefa, or a plague that we always say is part of Avinu Malkeinu, but never in my life until now have I actually been exposed to, living through a dever, a pestilence, and a magefa, and a plague. So certainly our Pesach Seder is going to have a little bit of a different understanding than in the past. So we'll have that. We'll have another get together next week. I'll probably schedule at the same time next week, Wednesday at 8:30.
Rabbi, I had a quick question.
Sure.
I was reading somewhere that the Rosh Chodesh this year is coinciding with a Yom Kippur Katan. Can you explain that?
Yes. Every Erev Rosh Chodesh, every time that's prior, the day prior to Rosh Chodesh, is referred to as Yom Kippur Katan. And a number of Rabbanim said that this Yom Kippur Katan, this Erev Rosh Chodesh, because the world is in such a, which was today, right? And is no longer. Now it's already Rosh Chodesh. So every Erev Rosh Chodesh, every day prior to Rosh Chodesh is called Yom Kippur Katan. And many Rabbanim said, make a big deal out of it this year. And even if you don't, this month, even if you don't normally deal with it this month, one should. But that was, and that's every Erev Rosh Chodesh, Stephanie.
And I'm sorry, I had never heard of it before. And is that because we're not sure the moon is coming back, or like why is it a Yom Kippur?
No. It's just, the Rosh Chodesh is a time for hitchadshut, for renewal. So we want to get ourselves into the proper frame of mind for that. So that's what we have Erev. We have a Yom Kippur Katan going into Rosh Chodesh.
Okay, thank you. I'll read more on it on my own. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everybody. Good seeing everybody. Yes.
So during the Musaf of Pesach, we usually say Marit Hatal, right?
Yes.
Tal. So since we're not gonna have a communal Musaf, do we just assume and start saying it to ourselves after that?
Yes. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, we start to say it already in our own Shmona Esrei? No. Actually, it's only, I'll double check this, Alan. I'm pretty sure that we don't announce not to say it. It's only by Mincha where we stop saying Mashta Baruch Mordechai. Okay? So I believe, one second. Someone please mute yourself, otherwise I'm hearing my Yeah, we still say Mashiach Mordeh Geshem by Musaf of the first day, right? We only would have changed by Mincha, and we will change by Mincha. We will no longer say Mashiach Mordeh Geshem starting Mincha of the first day of Pesach. Okay? If in Shul, by the repetition, we already would stop saying it, because in the repetition we'd have that whole tfilat tal. But so we say Mashiach Ruach through Musaf the first day of Pesach, and then starting Mincha we no longer say it. Those who say Mordeh Tal do; those who don't. But we no longer say Mashiach Ruach starting Mincha first day of Pesach.
And we wouldn't say Tfilat Tal to ourselves without a minyan, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Chaser lanu, we're missing. I heard one. There's a Rabbi Gamliel, who's a Mukubal in Yerushalayim, and he said, "Oy labanim, woe to the children who are no longer in the house of the father." It's chaser lanu. There's what to be gained, but we're missing. We're missing out, and look forward to reuniting with everybody, not just on Zoom, but in person at Shul. I can't give Leo a lollipop via Zoom. I apologize.
He came over, saw you, and got his bim bums ready. So he's ready to go.
Tell him Friday morning, I'm ready for him.
Friday morning. All right, sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
We're having an Olam Zoom on Friday morning again. So I'll be ready for him. Okay, everybody. Once again, good seeing you all virtually, if not in person. Okay. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much. Chodesh Tov.
Chodesh Tov, Chodesh Tov.